So how did this idea of your life as a work of art come into being? When I hit rock bottom and had a reckoning moment about the circumstances of my life, I took a shower, I sat in front of the mirror, and I didn't know who was looking back. And that's the day that I realized I didn't know who I was at the core of my being, and I went on an excavation journey. In this excavation journey, unbeknownst to me, something had started to shift in my life at the arrival of a canvas. I had ordered this beautiful canvas that said, "I am made of shattered stars," for my baby's nursery. I hadn't purchased anything for the nursery yet, but when I saw that painting, it spoke to me immediately, and I said, this is what I'm going to hang above the crib. And when it arrived, I'd heard the UPS truck out front, and I ran down the stairs and I opened the door, and there was the box leaned up against the side of my house. And right through the middle, from one side through the other, was as if someone had thrown a javelin through it. There was a big giant hole in the box, hole through the canvas, hole on the other side of the box. And I went upstairs and I opened the box, and there it was, the canvas with this big giant hole. And I remember two things happening at the same time. The first was just sort of a stunning realization that there was a hole in the canvas. But layered right on top of that, and in the exact same thought, was, this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. And I contacted the store from whom I had purchased the canvas. They immediately connected me to the artist who had actually painted the canvas. He got on the phone and said, I've put another blank canvas right on the table, and as we hang up this phone, I'm going to begin painting you a new one. And I said to him without missing a beat, I don't want a new one. I want this one. I just want you to teach me how to repair it. And I had this thought of, if this canvas is repairable, maybe I'm repairable too. And thus began, unbeknownst to me at the time, this acknowledgement that I was broken, that something was not right about my life, but fundamentally, I knew something was broken inside me, and I didn't know who I was at the core. That painting started what would become a seismic event in my life, and ultimately led me on the journey of a lifetime. If any of you are right now at that moment where you are sitting in front of mirrors in your life and you're looking at your face and you don't know who you are at the core of your being, I'm telling you right now, that schism and identity in me has been sealed so profoundly. I know exactly who I am at the core. Not only that, I know exactly how I was crafted and why I was crafted. So it changed my whole entire purview from I don't know who I am to I know who I am, I know why I was made, and I know what I'm here for. That is what is on the other side of this journey. So stick around. Every human really has one of 6 human needs, and they are as follows: certainty, uncertainty, significance, connection, growth, and contribution. Having a need is okay. You're human. You're not meant to not have needs or not need anything. Needing is okay. Meeting a core human need through the lens of brokenness and neediness is not. It sets up coping behaviors that drive circumstances that get us out of alignment with our true self and out of alignment with God. When I heard the UPS truck coming to drop off the broken canvas, I had heard that UPS truck before. I know exactly the sound of the engine, the rumble, the shake of that strange square vehicle, and the way it would pull up to my curb right in front of my front door. And the reason is because I heard that truck just about every day, and that was purposeful. When I was in my relationship, the person that I was with was often the only person I saw in any given day, week, month. I had traumatic brain injury too, actually. Those brain injuries rendered me unable to care for myself, and ultimately I was home and often bedbound. When I encountered the person that I was with, he took over my caretaking. And although I had agency and industry, which was such a gift, I was working remotely during that time, but I didn't see people. And so whether it was my partner, who was the only person I saw in life, or Kevin, I populated my life with people because my core need was human connection. Who is Kevin, you ask? Kevin was the UPS driver. Online shopping plus delivery equals connection. Online shopping plus Kevin's arrival equals human contact. If you are coping in your life, it is understandable, but we're going to look at what yours is and get really clear about what that is in a life. I had another coping behavior surrounding another core need, which was certainty. Out of neediness, I said yes to connection and certainty. My partner was going to walk through the door every day. Kevin, if I arranged it correctly, I would get a package every day. That was certainty for me. It was connection, but it was also certainty. And being in a partnership when you're so cut off from human beings also gave me a feeling of significance. I was significant to somebody in the world. Somebody said they loved me. Somebody cared for me. Somebody allowed me to care for them. It made me feel significant. But the reality is he committed to furniture. We did a lot of online shopping for our very large house. He committed to furniture instead of committing to me. And in my need to secure significance and certainty, I said yes to coping in that way. So I want you to write down what you're using to cope with an unmet need. Don't let it just live in your head. Write it down. Certainty, uncertainty, significance, connection, growth, contribution. What do you need? And now, secondarily, what are your coping behaviors around unmet needs? That is the question. There is a super interesting definition around the word cope that I want to read to you. It comes from the Middle English and it means to meet in battle or come to blows. Your coping behavior is designed to battle something. And the thing that you're battling is pain. And the thing that feels painful is not having your needs met. And so you're going to battle, you're coming to blows and using a coping behavior to do so. Your brokenness, your schism in identity leads you to a core need. Identify what that core need is. When it has neediness attached to it, because there's brokenness attached to it, it's going to develop a coping behavior in you. You're going to cope in some way to get that need met. And that coping behavior sets up an alternate life. The word alternate means substitute. It also means illusion, which is a deceptive appearance or impression. That's what you're creating when you create an alternate life. I love this example of when you think about a child. When a child cruises into the room and breaks something on the way and the mom comes running around the corner, what is the first thing the child says when that child sees the mom's face? Wasn't me. Wasn't me. The reason the child says wasn't me is because that child is trying to escape the consequences, the pain of consequences. It doesn't want consequences. And so it lies. It creates an alternate life. Someone, somewhere, broke this vase and it wasn't me. That's all I know. It wasn't me. And so for a split second, for a brief moment in time, that child is absolved of experiencing any of the consequences of its actions. When a child lies, it's cute. When an adult lies, it's tragic. Because the reality of lying to others or ourselves about what's real in our life is we break trust. We break trust with ourselves and we break trust with others. And that is a tragedy. So for me, I spent thousands of dollars online shopping every single year to create an alternate life where I didn't have to feel the pain of being sick, of not being independent, of being isolated, or to not feel the fear of knowing that I was relying on people and circumstances that couldn't or shouldn't be relied on. I created an alternate life to escape all of that. Even though I told myself I could afford it, It was harmless. It wasn't a big deal. I wasn't hurting anyone. With every dollar spent, with every step inside this alternate life, I was breaking small bonds of trust with myself because I was living a lie and I knew it. And it took more and more packages to cover it up. When I did this excavation journey, the first thing I had to do was write down the stone cold truth about my life, which was I lived in pajamas and on a good day, yoga pants. And despite all these packages that were coming, and I was buying beautiful clothes, like beautiful, expensive suits and black tie dresses and leather skirts and leather shirts and leather jackets. I was spending so much money on clothes that never saw the light of day because I didn't go outside for almost 10 years' time. I didn't even step outside of my house. And yet my closet belied another life. What is the stone cold truth of your life? You are not going to lie to yourself anymore. You are not a child. You are an adult. Lying to yourself breaks bonds of trust with yourself, and you cannot afford that in life. So I want you to write down your impact formula. Here we go. Core need. I need human connection and I'm not getting it. Coping behavior. In order to fill this need, I'm coping by online shopping so that Kevin will come to the door and I can avoid feeling alone. My online purchases create an illusion that I am healthy and well, able to go out in the world and do normal things like go to the office, go on dates, go to parties, and go to events. The stone cold truth of my life is that I have a medical condition that renders me home and bedbound. The impact of my coping behavior is that it drains my finances, which puts my future at risk. The consequence of showing up as someone who is willing to spend frivolously and carelessly is that I am breaking trust with my partner, and most of all, I am breaking trust with myself. I know that it's hard to look this stuff in the face, but this will all be worth it in the end. You will be a person who stands on a firm foundation of who you are. You will stand on truth, and that is worth everything.